We were here at Maryhill Winery with Vicki Leuthold. Vicki, we're doing kind of a 10-year retrospective of Maryhill wines, which is kind of hard to believe that we're already at this point in the winery's life. Tell me a little bit about the thought process of getting into the wine business and what you guys look to accomplish and maybe what you have accomplished.
Well, when we decided to do Maryhill and get into the wine business, we saw Washington really on the edge of greatness in our book. And nobody was really exposing it to the rest of the world like the Chateau Ste. Michelle's or the Columbia Crest were. And we wanted to have a facility to come and enjoy and really learn about all Washington had to offer. So we ended up doing all these very different varietals across the board. In our first year, which was 1999, we did 4,500 cases of 4 different varietals. And then we quickly started growing. We did 8,000 cases the next year, 12,000 cases the next year, 24, 32, 40, 50, 70, and 80 as of last year, 80,000 cases. And our breadth of varietals have grown from those 4 original to 19 different varietals, 27 different wines. And one of those is the Zinfandel, which is being grown here down at the Maryhill grounds. And we released our first Zinfandel in 2000. And we discovered growing down here in this lower Columbia Gorge area that we could grow some varietals that weren't growing anywhere else in Washington. We had the heat degree units, we had the length of growing season, and then we also had the moderate winter. When the Arctic Express came through, we were still okay down here. So we had these really unusual varietals going, one of those being the Zinfandel. And we ended up vinting our 2000 and sending it off to the West Coast Wine Competition just to see how it stood up against all the big boys being made down in California. And there were over 300 Zins in the competition, and ours, 300 California Zins and the one Washington Zin. And come to find out, it took best of class. Gold, obviously, and best of class. And that floored us, and I'm sure it must have floored everyone down there. They probably wondered where the heck Columbia Valley was, especially with a Zinfandel. So that really stood out for us as we can do almost any varietal here. And so we've been subsequently planting to see how well things do. And we're growing some odd varietals. We've got the Tintacao, Sauza, Touriga Nacional in for port. We've got Sangiovese planted here, Viognier, Barbera, Grenache. So it's just unlimited almost. We found some things that don't do so well in the heat, but most everything does beautiful over here.
You picked a fairly remote but very beautiful spot for your winery. There weren't a whole lot of wineries when you started. Now there are within the kind of this lower Columbia Gorge area. Tell me a little bit about the thought process for where you decided to put your winery.
Craig and I had some experience growing a small vineyard and winery just to the west of us before we did Maryhill. And we discovered how special this growing region is. And that term microclimate is so overused in this industry, but it's really, really true here because what I just commented on, the length of growing season, the heat degree units, the moderate winter, it was so unique that when we decided to do a winery of scale and do it only for our business as opposed to a hobby, we wanted to land somewhere that would support that special niche that we wanted to develop. And so we learned by that small vineyard about this region, and we looked everywhere else in the state, and we just kept coming back to this lower Columbia Gorge and ended up landing right here next to the museum.
And obviously it's paid off because you get something like 70,000 visitors per year.
We do. We will probably see close to 80,000 visitors this year, which is up from the last couple of years even for us.
That's pretty amazing during a recession.
Yeah.
And now you guys are in the music business, so what's the deal with that?
Well, in 2003 was our first music concert season, and we knew we wanted to set Maryhill aside and pull it out of the pack a little bit. And people who come to see our concerts aren't necessarily Maryhill Winery fans. They are coming to see Don Henley or Willie Nelson or B.B. King. And then they are here and experiencing the winery maybe for the first time. So when they go back to their store and they see 2,700 SKUs in the grocery store, maybe Maryhill will stand out because they had a great experience here at the music. And we love music, and it just adds another element, another layer of things to do, and another reason to come out here.
How many does the amphitheater seat?
Capacity is 4,000.
And you've reached that capacity more than once, I suspect.
Yes, we have.
Tell me a little bit about the Winemaker's Red, because that was something that maybe wasn't in the business plan, but has been a great success for you.
It has. In fact, we make more of that than all our other wines combined in terms of a lot. We just bottled 20,000 cases of Winemaker's Red. And it's a very approachable, everyday drinking wine that you can take home and not worry about pulling a cork on it. You don't have to celebrate with an expensive bottle of wine. And because we make so much of it, our cost of goods are down, and we go ahead and share that with the consumer, so it can be consumed every day. We've always used the same 4 grapes: Cab, Merlot, Syrah, Cabernet Franc. We've had various labels on it because we started with an idea of a historical label, and that became pretty daunting, introducing a brand new label year in and year out. So we finally landed on our Winemaker's Red and our Winemaker's White. And they are very popular. We're almost running out between vintages. And
so that was really kind of a happy serendipity moment with those wines.
Yes, yeah.
And what's the price point on that approximately?
$9.99 on the retail shelf.
Really? So it's very approachable. Any thoughts of putting it in anything besides a bottle? Bag in the box or anything like that?
Oh, we always talk about that, but no, we're pretty committed to bottles and corks at this point.
Okay. And one last question I need to ask you. We talked about this last winter, but I've seen more and more wineries opening restaurants, and it seems like that's the only thing you're not doing here.
Craig and I were partners in a restaurant in Spokane before we started this, and we do not want to go there again. And I think you've heard me quote to have our friends kill us if we decide to do that ever again. The beauty about this is people can come and picnic with their own foods. We have picnic foods here. We don't have to fill seats in order to make ends meet. We can just have them enjoy the space and take some wine away, and we don't have to clean dishes.
So if somebody wanted to build a restaurant next door, you'd be thrilled.
Yeah, we'd love that.
And how's this harvest going so far?
Excellent. We've all the fruits coming in pretty compressed because of the warm conditions we had this summer, but it's just flowing in. And of course in Washington we have that beauty of hang time. If we can't open up a tank, well, we can just let it hang for a few more days and it's not detrimental. So it's going pretty smooth.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Richard Batchelor, just moved up from Napa Valley, the new winemaker here at Maryhill Winery, and I've been here 3 months now, just early before Verizon, and got to see the fruit and develop as the seasons come along. Had a really nice, warm, hot summer, which has really helped the fruit up here in this area, and it's good to see the location, and obviously the setting was really beautiful. Part of that, I think, comes into the wine and the romance of this area. It's a wonderful place. My background has been mainly in California, in Napa Valley and Sonoma County, and mostly Cabernet and Merlot and Zinfandel and Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, with a few other varieties in there. And so I've had a chance to see this local area and really enjoying it at the moment, and looking forward to seeing how the wines progress. We're at the moment about halfway through harvest, and some tanks are really developing nicely. Most of the whites are in and almost through dryness at the moment, and the fruit expression at the moment is fantastic, and the colour coming out of the reds in fermentation is looking pretty spectacular as well. So really looking for a good year out of 2009.
I can tell from your accent you're probably from Connecticut?
Somewhere a little further south than that.
Okay.
It's a long swim around the south, but from New Zealand originally, and this will be my 10th harvest here in the US. So moved over here in 2000 and have enjoyed it ever since.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.